us for joining us from Arizona. Michael Nutter, Philadelphia, different part of the country. But are you sensing that this convention, the messages coming from this convention, are touching on things that people most need to hear about right now?
I do. And again, from leadership folks and leadership matters to a more perfect union, these things are coming through. The word of boiling waters has been mentioned a number of times. I think what Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are trying to do is
Hello, everyone.
some sense of decency. I think this is the first part of what Joe Biden is going to bring. I'm reminded that this George Sherlock talked about 1,000 points of light. His son talked about compassionate conservatives, conservatives.
Mr. Mullen, can you mute yourself? Thank you. Michelle, you're muted.
Okay, this is a regular meeting, Open Public Meeting Act notice. This meeting of August 19, 2020 is called pursuant to the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Law and was included in a list of meeting notice transmitted to the Two River Times and the Asbury Park Press and posted on the bulletin board in the municipal and building and the borough website on August 17, 2020. The meeting notice has remained continuously posted as the required notices under the statute. In addition, a copy of this notice is and has been available to the public and is on file in the office of the municipal clerk. Official action may be taken at this meeting. Proper notice having been given, the municipal clerk is directed to include this statement in the minutes of this meeting. All rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I will now call roll. Councilmember Braswell.
Here.
Councilmember Mazzola.
Here.
Councilmember Valkos.
Here.
Council President Ryan. Here. Mayor Brouillon.
Here.
We have two proclamations tonight. The first is proclamation declaring support for September 2020 being Hunger Action Month.
Whereas hunger and poverty are issues of grave concern in the United States, the state of New Jersey, and whereas the Borough of Highlands is committed to taking steps to raise awareness about the need to combat hunger, and whereas the Borough of Highlands is committed to working with Fulfill, formerly the Food Bank of Monmouth and Ocean Counties, to educate people about the role and importance of food banks in addressing hunger and to devote more resources and attention to hunger issues. And whereas more than 215,000 individuals in Monmouth and Ocean counties now rely on food provided by Fulfill and its partners since the beginning of the pandemic. And whereas the unemployment level is the highest it has ever been in the history of the state and the poverty level for a family of 4 is 25,465, and 9.5% of families live below that level. And whereas since March 13, 2020, Fulfill has provided 1,986,909 meals, including 16,000 more meals per day than the year before, and 903,984 of those meals were provided to Monmouth County residents. And whereas due to the pandemic, 1 in every 6 people in Monmouth and Ocean counties received emergency food from Fulfill and their network of food pantries, soup kitchens, shelters, and other community organizations. And whereas food banks across the country, including Fulfill, will host numerous events throughout the month of September to bring awareness and attention to encourage involvement in efforts to end hunger in their local community. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Mayor and Borough Council of the Borough of Highlands, County of Monmouth, State of New Jersey, do hereby recognize September as Hunger Action Month in the borough and call this observance to the attention of its citizens. Done this 19th day of August 2020 under my hand, Carolyn Brouillon, Mayor of the Borough of Highlands, members of the Borough Council, Rosemary Ryan, Council President, Kenneth Braswell, Linda Mazzola, Cody Valkos.
Next, we have a proclamation declaring August 31st, 2020 as Overdose Awareness Day.
Whereas the Borough of Highlands does affirm and acknowledge the harm and hardship caused by drug overdose, and whereas we recognize the purpose of International Overdose Awareness Day as remembering loved ones lost to overdose and ending the stigma of drug-related deaths, and whereas we resolve to play our part in reducing the toll of overdose in our community, which claimed the lives of 99 residents of Monmouth County, New Jersey from January 1 through June 30th of 2020, with countless more affected forever. And whereas we affirm that the people affected by overdose are our sons and daughters, our mothers and fathers, our brothers and sisters, and deserving of our love, compassion, and support. Therefore, I, Carolyn Brouillon, Mayor, do hereby proclaim August 31st, 2020 as Overdose Awareness Day in the Borough of Highlands. Done this 19th day of August, 2020, under my hand, Carolyn Brouillon, Mayor of the Borough of Highlands, members of the Borough Council, Rosemary Ryan, Council President, Kenneth Braswell, Linda Mazzola, Cody Valkos.
Thank you. Next, we have ordinances. We have public hearing and final adoption of 2 ordinances. The first is O-2017, an ordinance amending Chapter 21 of the Borough Code concerning fees.
I guess I'll open up the public portion.
Harold Bucko here. It's really not normal to be lowering fees on builders who are going to build wonderful buildings and make a lot of money. And I just can't understand why you're lowering the fees so much. $500 to $100. I mean, I don't think the builders are hurting that much, but that's my personal opinion.
Thank you. Are there any other comments regarding this ordinance? Seeing none, I will close public portion. Does anyone at the table have anything to add before we take a vote?
I do not. Thank you.
Okay, seeing none, I will offer this.
I'll second.
Who is that? I'm sorry, I couldn't.
Ken.
Thank you. Councilman Braswell,
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazzola,
Yes.
Council President Ryan,
Yes.
Councilmember Valkos,
Yes.
Mayor Brion,
Yes.
motion passes, or ordinance. Next ordinance we have is 20-18, an ordinance amending chapters 2, 3, 4, and 16 of the revised general ordinances of the Borough of Highlands to revise various fee schedules.
I will open public portion.
Harold Bucko, 330 Shore Drive. I'd like to raise an objection to Schedule A. Schedule A is affecting the community mostly because all the people that have meetings there or want to have meetings there, you've raised the price from $35 to $50. And in the past, you have allowed a number of people to take unfair advantage of that. But we're a nonprofit, not-for-profit organization as well, but we don't get any consideration as far as the borough, and we have no place to hold our meetings. We hold 5 meetings or 4 meetings a year, and you want to raise us from $35 to $50? The little people. We've already given the big people $400 cuts. Now you want to raise us.
Excuse me, Ms. Oh,
Yeah,
I think that you're talking about, you said you were a nonprofit?
not for profit.
Not-for-profit. Okay, so a not-for-profit fee went from 35 to 25, so it actually went down.
Given number 5.
No, it says
American
condominiums,
Condominium
$50.
Association.
Look at the rest of the schedule.
Yeah.
Okay,
Number 5.
I was just addressing the nonprofit status.
Yeah, we're not really nonprofit, but we're not for profit. We use all our money for our residents. Anyway, I'm done with that.
Does anyone else have any comment on this ordinance? Seeing none, I will close public portion. Would anyone like to make an offer?
I'll make the offer.
No second.
Councilmember Braswell,
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazzola,
Yes.
Council President Ryan,
Yes.
Councilman Valkos,
Yes.
Mayor Brion.
Yes.
Okay. Next item on the agenda is resolutions. We have a resolution, R20-180, a resolution accepting the resignation of Matthew Collin.
I'll make the offer.
No second.
Councilman Braswell,
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazzola,
Yes.
Council President Ryan,
Yes.
Councilmember Valkos,
Yes.
Mayor Brion.
Yes.
Next, we have Resolution 20-181, a resolution appointing Michelle Hutchinson to serve in the position of acting municipal clerk.
I will make that offer.
I'll second.
Do we want to explain why we did it for 60 days?
As Michelle is new to this position, it's just a trial period to make sure that both sides are comfortable with no issues going forward.
60 days enough.
Could always be another 60 days, or it could be through the end of the year. Or it could be up until, I believe, Brian, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe the state statute has a provision of its
1 year.
1 year.
Correct. 1 year is acting, and then you have to seek additional approval from the DCA if it's for another 1 year term or a subsequent 1 year term, but up to 1 year without.
Her 60-day term does not take away, I just want to be clear with this. her 60-day term does not eat into her 2-year total term,
The
correct?
two separate
No, it's two
regulations.
yeah.
So it's 2 separate. So she would still get, she would still have 2 years to seek
Certification.
accreditation, certification.
Certifications is what
Okay.
you're looking for. Yep. And I believe you're only a few classes away. So,
Yes.
well done.
Thank you. Should I continue?
Yes, please.
So we had Mayor Brouillon offer. And
I second.
you seconded. Thank you. Okay. Councilmember Braswell,
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazzola,
Yes.
Council President Ryan,
Yes.
Councilmember Valkos,
Yes.
Mayor Brouillon.
Yes.
Next, we have R20-182, a resolution authorizing the payment of bills.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Councilmember Braswell,
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazzola,
Yes.
Council President Ryan,
Yes.
Councilmember Valkos,
Yes.
Mayor Brouillon.
Yes.
Thank you. Next, we have a resolution approving a membership application for the Highlands. Oh, I'm sorry. We don't. We have 183. I skipped one. A resolution making a determination regarding the application for a mercantile license for the year 2020 for Captain's Cove Marina.
Can we have Brian read our proposed resolution?
You want me to read the language with respect to a potential 30-day mercantile license? That's my understanding, correct? Okay. In the 6th whereas clause, after due consideration of the applicant's appeal of the denial of a mercantile license application for the year 2020, the governing body has determined that it is in the best interest of the borough to grant a temporary conditional mercantile license for a period of 30 days in order to allow the applicant and the borough to have their respective engineers meet and confer, and to memorialize the form of an agreement regarding, among other things, the completion of the repairs to the bulkhead and the posting of a performance bond. Now therefore be it resolved by the mayor and council of the Borough of Highlands that the mercantile license for Captain's Cove Marina LLC for the year 2020 is hereby granted as a temporary conditional mercantile license for a period of 30 days based on the conditions outlined above, as well as compliance with the fire marshal's requirements for slip rental and boat rentals, which are consistent with the boat rentals that have occurred at the site previously, after which time, without further action by the governing body, the mercantile license shall expire.
You can ask her.
Is Mr. Perini on the line in attendance? Michelle, do you see?
I see an Allison Perini, but I'm not.
No relation.
Oh, someone just said no relation.
Oh, okay. Thank you. I do not. There's some numbers that are just numbers and not
Right.
names, so I can't.
Okay.
Well, I will make the motion.
I'll second, and I'll also just iterate that in addition to all the conditions that we just spelled out, that this is also going to be a good thing for the business community. He'll probably have to hire employees, which could be residents, and his customers will probably also be other businesses' customers. They're going to want to buy food and stuff to take on their outings, and many of their customers will also be residents as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this kind of goes around and comes around. So when we extend our hand and see how we goes with it.
I would like to add something as well. I think that it's important for the public to know and understand that this is only for 30 days and it expires automatically after 30 days if all those conditions are not met. And I really do hope that Mr. Perini comes to the table and negotiates and sits down with our borough attorney and works out all of the issues that are remaining. And
I think you mean
quite
engineering.
frankly, if the engineer is not satisfied, again, this expires at the end of 30 days and there's no renewal at that point.
Do you have to vote yes or no?
Yes.
I don't think you've done a roll call yet. You just
I
said
don't
Yeah,
think
no,
we
we
did
did
roll
not.
Let's do a roll call now.
Thanks,
Okay.
Rosemary.
Jump
Now
in
you're
there.
committed, though.
Council Member Braswell,
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazzola,
Yes.
President Ryan.
Based on what Linda said and what we've discussed, 30 days, see work happen. And for the reason that we suspended the mercantile in the first place to be completed and certified. Yes.
Councilmember Valkos,
I agree with Ken and Linda. Yes.
Mayor Brion.
Yes.
Okay. Next, we have Resolution 20-184, a resolution approving a membership application for the Highlands Fire Department.
I'll make a motion. I'll second.
Councilmember Braswell,
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazzola.
I need to abstain.
Thank you. Council President Ryan,
Yes.
Councilman Valkos.
Yes.
Mayor Brion.
Yes.
Next, we have R20-185, a resolution approving renewal of liquor license for the 2020-2021 term.
I'll offer it.
I'll second.
Council Member Braswell,
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazzola,
Yes.
Council President Ryan,
Yes.
Council Member Valkos.
Yes.
Mayor Brion.
Yes.
Resolution passes. Next, we have R20-186, a resolution approving an application for a person-to-person and place-to-place transfer of liquor license 1317-33-010.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Wait. There was a request by council for the applicant to make the effective date of the transfer August 25th. So with the provision that now therefore be it resolved, the effective date will be August 25th in both respects in that paragraph. So with that amendment to the 25th, that's a resolution to be offered.
Okay, I will offer as amended.
I'll second as amended.
Councilmember Braswell,
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazzola,
Yes.
Council President Ryan,
Yes.
Councilmember Valkos.
Yes.
Mayor Brion.
Yes.
Resolution passes. Next is R20-187, resolution opposing the exclusive use of mail-in ballots for the general election in November 2020.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second. Okay. Can I add a comment?
Sure.
I heard on the radio today an example of how mail-in ballots for everyone, 100% everyone, is a big foul up. There was a story about a person who used to live in New Jersey but moved elsewhere, but the person who took their place was an associate, so they kept in touch. And the person who took over the house in New Jersey received the mail-in ballot for the person who moved. And it was by coincidence that they figured that out because they were in touch. But if it were anyone else, the person who received the mail-in ballot could have filled it out and mailed it in.
Having extensive knowledge of how votes get counted in this county, and having been through it a few times, I can say that there is a very involved process of signature matching that goes on. So just because somebody sends something in, it doesn't necessarily mean it will be accepted. And I've had people actually in this last election who their votes were rejected because their signature was so different. They just signed their initials, they didn't sign their full name, and that ballot was rejected.
Yeah. And that's my case. My signature from 30 years ago when I signed the registration doesn't look like anything like my signature now.
Right.
So-
But they
so it
expect
could-
normal change over
Yeah.
time, but
Yeah.
not drastic changes such as only doing your
Oh, mine
initials.
is nothing whatsoever. You would think it was different
But
people.
they're comparing it on a yearly
Yes.
basis.
Oh, they see
of
it
every
every
time
year,
that you
yes.
vote,
Yeah,
yes.
they, well, actually, no,
And
they
that's
don't.
why I made sure that I put this provision in here that that will not change unless there is a majority vote by a voter of referendum, because only the voters should be making a decision of how voters should vote.
Yeah.
And with that, a roll call, please.
Councilmember Braswell,
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazzola,
I have something to say about this.
Go right ahead.
I feel very strongly. I feel that voting is such an enormous right for us as Americans, and I feel that I should have the choice if I want.
Privilege.
Yes, and the privilege to vote in person. And certainly, if I can stand in line at the supermarket, I can certainly stand in line, socially distance, and vote. So my vote is yes.
Council President Ryan,
Yes.
Councilmember Valkos,
Yes.
Mayor Brion.
Yes.
Resolution passes. Next, we have Resolution 20-188, a resolution appointing deputies to the Office of Emergency Management Coordinator.
I'll offer it. Well, because it's my appointment, so I have to.
I'll second.
Councilmember Braswell,
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazzola,
Yes.
Council President Ryan,
Yes.
Councilmember Valkos,
Yes.
Mayor Brion.
Yes.
Michelle,
So ordered.
we skipped 20-188, right?
That was 188.
It was.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay. Next, we have R20-189, a resolution increasing the contract amount for special counsel.
I'll offer it.
I'll second.
Councilmember Braswell,
Yes.
Councilmember Mazzola,
Yes.
Council President Ryan,
Yes.
Councilmember Valkos,
Yes.
Mayor Brion.
Yes.
Thank you. Next, we have Resolution 20-190, a resolution appointing permanent full-time cashier.
I'll offer it.
I'll second.
Councilmember Braswell,
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazzola,
Yes.
Council President Ryan,
Yes.
Councilmember Valkos,
Yes.
Mayor Brion.
Yes.
Thank you. Next, we have public hearing and approval of resolution. R20-191, a resolution authorizing township participation in the Monmouth County Municipal Open Space Grant Program for 2020 grant funding for the renovation of Huddy Park.
Just to give a little bit of background, this is pretty much what we had done last year with the Open Space Committee, and I'll let Linda run with that, which we were denied last year, but we would like to resubmit.
We basically just took the application and we just repurposed it for this year because we would really like to be able to do the improvements that we had set out and planned for Huddy Park, which includes a gazebo, some raised planters, perhaps some game tables, lighting, and a renovation of the children's playground as well.
Would you like to offer?
I'll offer that.
Okay, and I'll second it.
Councilmember Braswell,
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazzola,
Yes.
Council President Ryan,
Yes.
Councilmember Valkos,
Yes.
Mayor Brian.
Yes.
With that, we have no other business reports. We have architect report and an engineer. If the
We're going to do Doug Romeyer first.
Doug,
That's
would you
fine.
like to start? Thank you.
Very quickly, can we just go back to the public hearing component of the open space grant application?
Yes, we need to have a public hearing.
I recognize there was a roll call to have the public hearing, but I just, if it's okay, I'd like to talk briefly a little bit more about the grant application and see if there's any public input that we could utilize to supplement the application itself.
Absolutely. Please go ahead.
Would it be all right if I shared my screen and put the concept up?
Sure.
Okay, here we go. Very good. Everybody able to see that at least partially in detail?
Yes.
So I'll make it very brief. This is a rerun of almost a year ago tonight, August 21 last year. We presented the same concept plan for improvements to Huddy Park for an actual application, a grant application to be made to the Monmouth County Open Space Program. What makes us, it puts us in better standing to receive the grant this year is the work that's been done over the prior year to actually close out some of the older grant money that's being awarded to the borough itself. So besides resubmitting, we bettered our positions and eligibility to receive this grant. Again, it was already discussed on, you'll see in the center, conceptually, we have a 30-foot gazebo, landscaping along the perimeter, full replacement and upgrade of the playground facility with a poured-in-place bonded rubber surface, some bike racks, walkways, various benches, water fountain improvements. We have a cost estimate conceptually at this point at approximately $500,000, and that's the key number because the grant program offers a one-to-one match up to $250,000. So we are seeking the full grant amount at this point. Last year there was some discussion in public comment about placement of the playground, and I just want to remind everybody that this is a grant application, and if the grant is awarded, I'm sure there'll be a lot of opportunity to continue to provide input on the specific details of the property. But at this time, I think it would be appropriate to ask for any additional public input to help supplement our application itself.
Does anyone have any? Oh, go ahead.
Doug, I would like you to just comment on the fact that, yes, we are submitting the application for the full grant amount, but it is also possible that we could be awarded a portion, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. It's based on the total funding and the application. Sometimes you get less than is asked for. And that's why this concept is purely that at this point. If a reduced amount is awarded, then we would go back and program maybe the park in phases or reduce some of the scope itself to live within the available funding.
Thank you.
Does anyone else have any question for Doug?
No, looks good.
Okay.
I had a question.
Okay, I was just about to say, I'm going to open it up to the public. If you could please give us your name and address for the record.
Sure, Maria Carroza, 179 Bay Ave. My question, I missed the very beginning of this particular portion, but regarding the park, what would be the time frame if given the grants and the upgrades?
So generally, the grants are announced or awarded in the beginning of the upcoming year, in early 2021. There's a 30 to 60 day time period to do some preliminary environmental work and execute an agreement between the county and the municipality. At that point, once that's cleared, there would be a survey and a design phase, and it would have to go out to bid. So you're looking, sometime mid to late 2021, ideally, should the funding be in place for it.
Is there anything that, we can do before that time frame to, as a parent in the town with young children and others, to try to improve the parks as of now, before this? Obviously if we get this, we wouldn't want to put too much into it, but even on a fundraising level, or I'm not sure if you're who I would ask about this, but just recently being at the park, the swings and certain things are really dated and worn and almost to a point of a little bit dangerous. And obviously a grander upgrade would be wonderful, but given a couple of years, it's so far down the line, and there's only one area in town that we can bring our kids to go on the swings if they're not school age, and one swing available. So, I was just talking to some moms actually recently if we could create some sort of fundraiser or something to do something in the meantime.
Maria, we do have money in our budget for capital projects, for parks, and for other things. This is just a much grander vision that the Open Space Committee came up with.
Okay.
So yes, we could do smaller things on a much smaller scale, and it does not necessarily need to be Huddy Park. It could be any of the other parks. But if you've got some particular ideas that you want to bounce off us, we could certainly look into it and get some costs.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Are we still open to the public?
Yes, we are.
My question is,
Could you please just state your name and address for the record?
Absolutely, sorry. Laura Cowan, 215 Linden.
Go ahead, please.
My question is whether it's this park or any other park in Highlands, is there any consideration to having a potential dog park section of some sort?
It's an idea that's been played around with the different pieces of property around town, but we haven't made any formal look as of yet for a dog park. But we certainly can look into that too.
Pretty much every town I've ever lived in prior to here has had some sort of, and sometimes very small, space where you can let a dog go off leash. And I think it's really great for socialization and meet and greets for adopting, etc.
Okay.
It would be a great option.
Okay, I'm taking notes.
And Laura, you said your name was Laura,
Lauren,
right?
yeah.
Lauren?
Yes, L-A-U-R-A.
Hi, this is Linda Mazzola. The Open Space Committee has also discussed that possibility in the past. We definitely have, gone out, look at some products and done some pricing. I think more the issue is coming up with the parcel of land.
Yeah.
Agreed. When I was looking at adopting another dog, we co-opted the kids' playground at Huddy, and that was not the ideal. And we were breaking a law. So
I'll be in touch.
Sounds great.
Okay. Anyone else on the park improvements?
Yes, hi, I have a question. Lori Nolan, 65 Snug Harbor.
Go ahead.
Okay, question. In the park area, playground area, are there swings? It's hard for me to read on here, so I'm not sure.
Sure. Doug Romeyer here in case you're on the call. Our concept does have a bank of swings. You can see that in the upper component over here. And really the concept is really just demonstrating that there's the open clear space to have a swing set. We have 4 bays on it. We have some the swings for smaller children or the ADA accessible swings, or we could also, we've done in some of the other parks, the parent-child swings where both people are on the swing at once. That's a cool swing we've implemented in the past. And then due to the confined space available for the playground facility, this one merged the 2 to 5 and 5 to 12 play area into a single play area. You have some slides, some climbing components, and there's some space here to put in a typical playground structure like that you would see at a current modern install.
Okay, so I'm sorry again, so you're saying there's at least 3 or 4 swings, was that correct?
Yeah.
Of some sort?
Yeah, the concept shows that there's space for it all. And
Okay.
again, it comes down to budget, I guess, at the end of the day, if we get the grant or not.
Right, right. But there is this placement there for swings to stay in that area somewhat, which is there now.
Yes.
Okay. Second question, is there a fence around that playground area? Is that a fence or is that only trees and bushes? Is there an actual fence?
I can guarantee you there's an actual fence.
There is a fence. Okay. All the way around the whole playground.
If a grant gets awarded and it gets fully programmed, we're going to have to go through that analysis, whether or not fencing it in is appropriate in this location or not. I recognize the drainage facility in close proximity, so it is likely we would create a fence barrier at that point. Whether or not it's open to the picnic area, more towards the central core, we could talk about that. Recently, we've done municipal parks that both fence and don't fence the play components based on, proximity to roads, parking, drainage, that kind of stuff.
Right, exactly, because there is quite a bit of traffic more to the Bay Avenue side, as well as the Shore Drive side. But the busing that comes there, continuously, and the kids going from this playground across the street to the skate park, and kids being kids, just going and running back and forth, sometimes not being so aware that there's a street there. So personally experiencing that is something that is a concern for me, for the children in our area.
And Doug, with all respect.
Excuse me, there's only one person speaking at a time.
And then my other question or suggestion would be, and I don't know if it's in there or not, is somewhere to possibly put in a tree, like a Christmas tree, to let it to start to grow so that in the future we would have an actual tree in that playground, in the park itself for our tree lighting as the years go on. We used to have one years ago, it was cut down.
Yeah.
And now we've been using the one in the gazebo. Then we had some others. So it was just a suggestion or a thought. If someone could keep that in mind, that might be, cost effective or something nice to have in the actual park itself.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Did anyone else have a comment on the park?
Yes.
Can I please have your name and address?
Melissa Peterson, 17 Bay Street. On the Bay Avenue side and the Waterwitch side, is there going to be any grading to be proactive on the flooding situations that happen on Bay Avenue and Waterwitch when it rains or floods?
So this concept is really just horizontally laid out at this point. I am very cognizant of the flooding, the FEMA flood elevations in that zone. So is it possible that we would elevate certain components? I think that might be a good idea, for sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Does anyone else have a question? Okay,
I'd like to make a quick comment. Sorry to interrupt.
Who's
Gina
this?
Melnick. Hi,
Oh.
it's Gina Melnick, C5 Hillside Court. I just first wanted to commend you for the effort involved in applying for the grant. I think it's awesome when we can save money for the taxpayers through grant applications. But I did want to second Maria's concern that it may take a while to get the swings installed, and I'm happy to hear that there's a possibility that we could make a capital improvement before the grant money is made, especially considering that a lot of the kids maybe won't be attending school, you know, as they're used to, and they may have less interaction with their friends because they're not attending school in person. So I just wanted to second Maria's interest in, if nothing else, replacing the swings before we wait for the grant proposal to be completed. But I also understand that it really wouldn't, you know, 2021 will be here before we know it. So even if it can't get completed now, it's great to see that it could happen next year. But if there's a way to make some of those capital funds available for replacing those swings, I think it would be awesome. Thank you.
Hello, Michael Lachlan, 92 Seadrift.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, my question is, it's directed towards the mayor and council, with a budget increase of 7% and actually $1 million less than 2016. Why did all of you as elected officials agree to a budget with a tax rate that would permit increases of 20, 30, and in some cases might say 66% on residents who've had no taxable improvements? And my second question, since this is townwide, what are you then doing with these millions of dollars since the budget only increased 7%? And my last question is, in my talks with many people in this town, many are concerned about speaking up, and some of them are on this phone call right now. Is there any reason residents should fear retaliation for voicing their concerns about these tax increases?
Mike,
yes,
we are specifically speaking just about the park right now. This is the public comment portion for the park only. But we'll get back to your question once we get into the regular public portion.
Oh, okay. All right, sorry.
Does anyone else have a comment regarding the park improvements?
Doug, is this preliminary design? Did you just
Purely conceptual at this point.
and I'm assuming this was used to submit for the grant, correct?
Yep.
You need to
Yeah.
for the grant, I figured. Okay, thank you.
All right, I see no other comments from the public. Michelle, if we could have a roll call for submitting this grant. And I'll offer it.
I'll second.
Thank you. Councilmember Braswell?
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazzola?
Yes, for the second time.
Council President Ryan? Council President Ryan? Council Member Valkos?
Yes.
Mayor Bouillon?
Yes.
I just want to make a comment that playgrounds have come a long way, because I don't know who here's been here long enough to remember the playground on Miller Street where the firehouse used to be.
Basketball courts.
Yeah, where we used to go on that merry-go-round that would go around on cement and pray that we wouldn't fall off and cut our knees on glass. So much nicer now, much nicer.
Is Mr. Sentimbrino with us?
We're here, Mayor. Thank you.
Please proceed with your architect's report.
Thank you, Mayor. What I wanted to do is bring the Mayor Council up to date with regard to our progress on the revised drawings for the new municipal building. As you know, you've received from us revised elevations on all sides. I'm sure that the Mayor Council have seen those. They're up on the website to date. Our revisions to the drawings to accommodate these changes are about 80% complete. We are rounding the last corner, completing all of the electrical upgrades, which include the new solar panels on the roof and the revised rooftop units. It also includes some of the revised structure with regard to the new front portico and columns and the entrance at the rear of the facility. As you know, the new building has been designed with similar context to the officers' row buildings on Sandy Hook in terms of the stone at the base, the brick at the top of the building, the green and tan colors to match more historic looking buildings. So we expect to be complete with our documents within the next few weeks for a QA/QC review, and then a final review with the governing body before your approval to go to public bid. So we're fairly close at this point.
Excellent. Does anyone have any questions?
Thank you.
No, thanks.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Doug, would you like to go forward with your engineering report?
Sure. Thank you, Mayor. I'd just like to touch on a few of the active capital projects we're working on right now. First being 171 Bay, the municipal parking lot. You will, weather permitting, we will see the final concrete work being formed out tomorrow and poured on Friday, and then finalizing the HMA work in the following week. That'll set us up for installing the stone along the perimeter, the decorative landscape stone, get it striped and get it open hopefully within the next 2 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks. Our Cedar Street Jones Creek bulkhead project, we're advancing the contracts with with Braco Construction. We're going through a shop drawing review at this point. Based on anticipated material delivery times, they're looking to get started at the first location right after Labor Day weekend. Once they get here, they'll be able, it's all the same materials, similar materials, so they'll be able to just work continuously throughout the 2 project sites.
Terrible.
Mountain Street, not sure if anybody was up there this afternoon. Your contractor completed the milling and overlaying today. Mountain Street. Concrete was completed last week. So that one is being wrapped up. Into design, our Bay Ave Waterwitch Sanitary Project through iBank. We continue to advance the plans. The plan set is starting to look like a phone book at this point. Our DEP reviewer has our application on his desk. I have a anticipated meeting before the end of the month with the iBank representative as well. That'll get our application continuing along and while we advance our plans. Improvements to Locust Street, if you remember, that's a DOT funded project. Freehold Soil Conservation District approved plans for us, and we're waiting to obtain DOT approval. Once that's in place, that'll put us in position to public bid the Locust Street improvements. Bayside Drive, we have a contractor heading over to the Bayside Drive terminus at the municipal border to construct some rolled asphalt curbing to keep the drainage flowing into the system as the edge of the pavement on the downhill side is deteriorating. We need to do some work to clean that up and ensure the drainage follows the desired paths. Let's see. News. With regards to active grant applications, right now we have.
He cannot be heard. Nobody can hear him.
How about now? Is that better?
I can hear you fine.
Thank
I
you.
can find Doug.
Active grant applications, we have DOT municipal aid pending. We submitted for King and Matthews. We're expecting announcements anytime in the next month or so. We have FEMA pre-disaster mitigation money that we've requested for the borough. We submitted for 2021 CDBG money. Those applications are pending. And this evening you heard about the Monmouth County Open Space Program. With the public hearing being completed at this point, we're able to submit the full application prior to the September due date. That's all I have unless there's any specific questions.
Any questions? This side, that side? Okay.
Thank you, Doug.
Thank you, Mr. Romeyer.
Thank you.
Next, we have public portion.
Wait, can I just real quick?
Oh.
I'm reading something. August 22nd, 12 p.m. to 5 p.m. The EMS is having a car wash, exterior only, at our squad building. It is $8. That's it. Thank you.
Cody's going to expect each and every one of you out there getting cars done.
Absolutely. That's it.
Okay. Anyone else have any announcements they need to make? Go ahead.
Turn your mic up.
Better. My mic is cutting out. Sorry about that. I don't have much more. I did want to thank Mayor and Council recognizing overdose awareness for August 31st. It's a serious situation with the public, especially now with the mental health crisis going on with the pandemic. So I do want to acknowledge a thanks to the Mayor and Council. The community center is looking at recognizing and remembering 9/11 in conjunction with the American Legion and the First Aid and Fire Department. More information will come and it will be posted on the website once things are figured out. Today with the rain event, I do want the residents and Mayor and Council to know that photos were taken of the runoff from Monmouth Hills. It was submitted to the DEP and I am in conversation with them. I will be in further conversation with them tomorrow. I ended the conversation with them for this meeting. We will pick it up in the morning. And I have also asked DPW if they will get Monmouth County in to clean out Jones Creek since it is almost at capacity at this point. I do want to thank OEM and the borough departments for the storm cleanup. They did a wonderful job. I do not live in Highlands. What it took me to get to work and from work was interesting. Yet when I came to Highlands, it was passable and cleaned up. So I do want to acknowledge the borough departments, and I hope that all the residents that contacted me did get an answer from me. Our email, our internet, our server, our phone systems were completely down. Anything that I had to have posted, I really had to do, I had to leave town to do so. That's why I usually do not post things personally, but I had to at the moment. I do want to let everyone know the association lot, the public access sign was put up, and it shows where the public access point is for the public, being that the gates are closed due to the person that leases the property. They have been keeping those gates closed, and there will be new asphalt put down in that lot. It'll be a mill and pave job, nothing new, just to clean up the area, make it more presentable for the people that do access that beach area. I did want to address the unsafe parks. Please know that the GIF does come out and they inspect our park systems, and we do get a report back, and anything that is considered unsafe we address immediately. That's why sometimes you will see that the park is closed until we address certain issues. Not saying that they don't need upgrading, but they are safe at this time. If there's ever something that's actually unsafe, please email me immediately and we will address that. And Doug hit the asphalt curbing on Bayside Drive. We did find that after we did some work for the slump that was there, that hole, we did see that the water runoff did change positioning, and with that drop off, we wanted to address that immediately, and we have a contractor doing that. That's all I have.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sure.
Ms. Gonzalez pointed out how effective the Department of Public Works was in responding to the storm. I can attest to that. It's become a hobby for me to go out in the storm and observe the flooding conditions. And I saw them immobilize instantly, putting up barricades and making sure the traffic was moving in the right direction. And no sooner than the rain stopped were they're picking everything up. I never saw anything like it. So kudos to the police department and DPW.
Agreed. I saw
Absolutely.
Dave driving around.
Mayor and Town Council,
Yep.
Laura Cowan, 215 Linden.
I haven't technically opened up public portion yet, so if you could just hang on for a sec. Did anyone else have anything more to say at the table here? Okay. Okay, Laura, please go ahead.
I wanted to second Ken's comment. I had a whole pile of brush in my driveway, not even in the street. That thanks to today's rain, it kind of just washed out. And because I felt for my neighbors, I walked down to try to get it back. And it was already gone.
Excellent.
With a truck literally being like, hey, thanks for being a good neighbor.
That's great.
Great to hear.
Yes, very much so. Does anyone else have a comment in the general public comment? Sorry?
Claudette Dorigo, 12 Seadrift. This question is for Doug Romeyer. Correct me if I'm wrong, but weren't the engineers supposed to meet before this meeting? Weren't you supposed to meet with the engineers from Mr. Perini before this meeting? Doug?
Yep, just unmuting my machine. We corresponded once. We have not completed our, there hasn't been an initial proposal presented to me yet.
But wasn't that the agreement that we listened to for 3 hours, that you guys were supposed to meet before a decision for a mercantile license was going to be decided on? Or am I mistaken on that? Brian or Doug or someone?
That's what was discussed. You're correct.
Okay, thank you. And this question is for the entire council. Has the town collected the $20,000 in back taxes that Mr. Rosiak owes the town for Captain's Cove?
That does not apply in this case.
Well, I'm asking the question. Have you collected the $20,000? I'm not saying any case. I'm asking you if you've collected the $20,000 in back taxes that Mr. Rosiak owes the town for Captain's Cove.
The town has not collected.
I don't believe so. Yeah.
Mr.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Urigo, this is Linda Mazzola. The town has not collected that money. However, that was a question that was posed by me to council, to legal counsel. And unfortunately, that was not something that could be considered because this mercantile license is not being granted to Mr.
I'm
Rosen.
not asking if it's being considered. I'm asking if it was paid. Thank you. My next question is, what is the special counsel increase for? What case are we increasing this money for?
We cannot discuss personnel issues. It's set forth that it's for a personnel issue.
Oh, it's a personnel related issue. Thank you. And last, there's a statement. Those who do not learn from history are doomed to repeat it. Obviously, that is what Captain's Cove. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone else have a comment that they would like to share?
Carol Bucko, 330 Shore Drive. I appreciate the fact that you finally passed Resolution 2187 to go against the all mail-in ballots because it is an absolute nightmare. And hopefully someday New Jersey will also require ID to vote, because the signatures are almost impossible unless you know the people. And the only people that know the people are those that have worked there for a long time. So, if the next resolution to use IDs comes up, would you please pass it a little faster? Because you're a little after the time period to get this even considered. And one other thing I would like to mention, September is Childhood Cancer Month. And we worry about the druggies, we worry about the homeless and the people that can't get proper food, but we need to worry about the children that are dying every year from cancer. And the symbol for Childhood Cancer Month is gold ribbons. So if you want to put gold ribbons on your house, that's what it's for. Thank you.
Thank you.
Did you say gold ribbons?
Yes. Does anyone else have a comment?
I do. Kim Skwerka, Shore Drive. I have a question. Since we granted a temporary mercantile license to Captain's Cove, I don't know if anybody's been by the parking lot, but where are all these cars going to park? I know he might not have slip customers ready to go, but I know for a fact that boat rentals are in high demand this season. And he had, I don't know, 8, 10, 12 boats. Where are those cars going to park?
Where did they park for the old marina?
Well, in the parking lot that's currently covered in dirt and construction equipment.
Okay.
So where is he going to park? You gave him a mercantile license, and he has no parking. You gave him a mercantile license. There's no trash cans out there for these customers. There's no bathroom for these customers. I think it was very presumptuous for you to grant him a mercantile license without ensuring he had these basic qualifications ready. I want this marina operating, but this is absolutely ridiculous that you're treating the neighborhood like this. I do want to switch gears a little bit and thank Lori Nolan for the recommendation of the Christmas tree in the park. I think that's a wonderful idea. Everybody knows I want more trees in town. And if we can add a Christmas tree, that would be fantastic. And I just want to know why we're continuing to go ahead with the Borough Hall. I thought we were supposed to have a town hall meeting for that to talk about the plans. I have no issues with what the police department needs, but frankly, I think the design of the upper level with the glass wall, and I know the architect was on today, but I haven't seen any plans. He didn't present any tonight, so I don't know what these changes are. Thank you.
Are they on the website?
Are the outside of the building is, the outside of the building, Kim, is on the website. The interior of the building, we can't release that due to Homeland Security issues.
That's odd because I'm pretty sure I saw a floor plan in previous plans.
Yeah.
Well, that was the police.
Yeah, that shouldn't have.
No, it was the upper level too, both floors.
I know. It's not supposed to be released, and it should not have been released when it was done last year. So there you have it. Does anyone else have something?
Yes, hi, I do. This is Lori Nolan, 65 Snug Harbor.
Sure.
Okay, I do want to say about supporting as well, which Mrs. Bucko brought up about the childhood cancer for the month of September. In the past years, we have done things for this month of September here in the Borough of Highlands. I do know that there was a flag left at the borough that was hung up at Huddy Park that was donated, and I can't recall the one woman's name, but was also in honor of Mrs. Bucko's grandson for the Childhood Cancer Month. If we cannot find it, I'm sure I could probably get you guys another one to hang up. That was one thing that we did every year. Second, my question would be in regards to the scope of the project that was at the special meeting that was put out. Can someone explain to me what that scope is for the Jones Creek thing? And I apologize because I know there was a special meeting I couldn't get on. I didn't see it that you guys.
You're talking about the bulkhead.
Correct.
Lorianne, this is Kim.
Uh-huh.
So first, let me address that the recreation coordinator already is working on the ribbons. We will take a look for that flag.
Okay.
It's already, it is planned for September. The
Wonderful.
head wall replacement is one that was part of a plan that we began last year and that we moved forward with after all of the evaluations. Doug could go further, but it's going to be a new flap valve in the front of that head wall over at that front bridge there.
The bridge closest to the beach.
Correct.
Okay.
Elaborate a little bit on that. It's a replacement of the bulkhead itself, new pedestrian bridge, and a tide gate as well at that location. The contract also includes street end bulkhead replacement at Cedar Street.
At Cedar Street?
Where the clam plant is, Lorianne.
Oh, okay. And so the bulkhead, the bridge itself, which is the closest one to the beach, is all going to be replaced, you're saying?
So this is
Correct.
the bulkhead that's parallel to the water. The section that closes off.
I'm sorry, say that again?
The section of bulkhead that's going to be replaced is parallel to the water, perpendicular to Jones Creek. It's just the end component of the bulkhead itself.
It's the one closest to the water.
Okay, because you're saying Jones Creek, but I think we're a little, Jones Creek is actually near Huddy Park. The creek next to the rec center is Marie's Creek, but I know that they've all been calling it for this purpose, I don't know, Jones Creek, but that's actually technically Mary's Creek.
Mary's Creek.
Yeah, so that's why I was a little confused. So Jones Creek is the one by Huddy Park, so you're not doing anything over there at all?
No, just emptying all of
Okay. Right, that I heard with the
dirt
county.
from,
Right, that's fine. And then, so again, the replacement is the one closest, Carolyn, to the beach,
That's correct.
the last one. And now when they replace that, will it be handicap accessible?
That pedestrian bridge, no, it will not.
So there'll be no ramp on that bridge to go up?
No.
Okay, is that something, because I know it was put out there many, many times. Is there a reason why it's not going to be handicap accessible? Is that something at this point you can't implement?
Well, it was designed and permitted to be replaced generally in time. It's going to be actually even higher than it is today. Just if you were to hear the ADA requirement for the ramp, I think it's take you up the day out, basically.
I can't hear you, unfortunately. You're breaking up. So you can't put in a ramp, you're saying?
I'm sorry. Can everybody else mute them?
Now I can hear you.
Please. Okay. So that ramp, that pedestrian crossing of Mary's Creek was not designed to be ADA accessible at that point.
Okay, so you can't put a ramp up there?
No.
You're saying? Was there community input at this special meeting for this final phase of this? Was there any community input? Because the special meeting came about, which like I said, I didn't know about it. I didn't understand why, or could maybe someone explain to me why there was a special meeting and they couldn't wait till this meeting? Why it was approved?
Can I ask you what
week ago?
special meeting date you were referring to? Like approximately?
The date, I don't have the exact date. I'd have to look it up.
This is like 6 months, 8 months, a year ago at this point?
What was the date of the special meeting?
Lorianne, are you
The
talking
third.
about the Captain's Cove special meeting? I think that's what you're talking about. That wasn't about this bulkhead. That was
Okay.
regarding Captain's Cove.
Yeah, Lorianne, it's Kim. This
Go ahead.
project was something that started approximately probably a year ago.
Uh-huh.
That we did speak about multiple times in meetings. Right now, the handicap accessibility is on the Beach Avenue side of the building. And then that's why we have the Mobi mat, the easy access mat that goes down to the beach.
But it
The
only goes
plans
right to
were
the
not-
community center and it ends. So it really doesn't get you out
Right.
to the beach. So
it
you
gets
come
you to
around.
the sand portion of the beach, right?
Right.
So,
Well, it used to
and
go
then we
all the way
have the
down to
ramp
the
that
beach,
also
but
is
now
in
it's
back of the community center as well. That way they have, there's ADA compliance getting to the restroom.
Okay.
But there was never a handicap, it would have taken a lot of space for the handicap accessibility for that ramp that we're talking
No, I
about
know.
where the head wall is, yeah.
Yeah, no,
It was something that we did look at and consider.
Right.
It just wasn't feasible at this time.
Okay. Just because I know we talked about it quite a bit and it was brought up because there was, you know, quite a few people that were looking for it to get onto the beach closer.
Understood.
Okay, so, okay. And then when you're addressing that walkway and over to the beach, there's also been, I know it's been fixed temporarily, but I believe, and I haven't checked in the last month or so myself, but there was the hole there, just several feet. There's basically like a sinkhole pretty much. When you come down the ramp, if you go to the right towards Bay Avenue, will that be fixed with this problem, with this whole issue that's right there?
Can I meet you and you can show me the area?
Sure.
Okay, let's do that because I really am not sure exactly what you're talking about. I don't have a problem meeting you on site and we can discuss it. I will have the DPW superintendent come with me and we will share the information with the borough engineer.
Perfect. Just figuring if we're going to do that project there, if it's right there, we can just fix it all at the same time. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And thank you to the DPW as well coming down here. As everyone knows, Snug Harbor is a complete mess when there is rain, full tides, and so forth. And today was exceptionally cleaned up quite a bit fast. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If no one else has a comment, I'd make a motion to adjourn.
Hi, this is Kat Walsh. Can you hear me?
Oh, sure. Go ahead.
I have a question about the parking lot on Bay Ave.
Could you just give your address for the record?
36 Navasink.
Thank you.
When is the parking lot on Bay Ave going to be opened?
Oh, yeah, Doug addressed that. He says it's weather permitting, probably within the next 2 to 3 weeks.
Okay.
There is some concrete and asphalt work that remains to be completed, and then we have to coordinate with a striper to stripe the parking spaces and complete the surface restoration along the perimeter, decorative landscape, stone, that type of stuff.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have a question as well. If no one
Sure.
else is going.
Can I have your name and address, please?
Yep. This is Joseph Nardone from 254 Bayside Drive. My question is kind of just to fill in the council on some of the kind of back and forth that we're having with the town's legal counsel on the 196 Bay Avenue co-working space. So, you know, the model that we had created is around focusing on being a landlord of desk rentals, and that's one of the reasons why we're going to be able to offer these desks for as cheap as we are, which is the lowest in Monmouth County. So I just wanted to kind of, you know, make it clear to the council that we really think that you should consider, you know, our position in the back and forth that we're having with the town's legal counsel. about the topic of our mercantile license. And, we think that since this model is basically proven to be a successful co-working model, I've lived in a co-working space myself. I've worked out of many of them, and all of the landlords that I've known that have run them have done them in the model that we're trying to do. So, it's a good opportunity for Highlands, I think, to allow this type of model of business to operate here. There's plenty of other buildings along Bay Avenue that we've seen so much demand for our space that, if it was successful, we would look into, expanding to other properties kind of along Bay Avenue. So I think it's a big opportunity for Highlands, and I would just urge the council to kind of consider our position. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Michael O'Loughlin, 92 CGF, may I talk?
Go right ahead, Michael.
Yeah, thanks, Carolyn. This is for the entire council. With a budget increase of 7% and actually $1 million less than 2016, why did all of you as elected officials agree to a budget with a tax rate that was slightly less than last year, but it has permitted increases of 20 to almost 70% to residents who have had no taxable improvements?
It is, and that Cody just asked if that was about the assessed value, which it is, and the council does not have any input into the assessed value. The tax assessor, who actually reports to the state, that's his purview. So,
and for the record, the tax assessor informed me he does not determine the tax rate. The tax collector's office told me they do not determine the tax rate, that it is the mayor and council who determine the tax rate.
Okay, he might have said that, or he might have not said that. But what I'm telling you right now is that the assessor determines the assessed value of all of the property in the town.
Yeah.
The borough council is we come up with a budget, and then we talk to the CFO and to the administrator. We talk amongst ourselves, and we say, okay, this is our budget. So that's what we did this year. This is our budget for 2020. These are all the departments and how they're all going to get funded, and this is how much money we're going to need.
Well, as you know, Madam Mayor, and you've been generous with your time with me, and I'm presenting this to all the council, really. It's that I just want you to know that houses that have had no improvement, taxable improvement, have received tax increases of up to 70% in this town, while some brand new properties have not only they're nowhere near that, they've decreased by 20, 30+%. I'm just letting you know that information. And since I'm getting conflicting information from the tax assessor, the tax collector's office, who should the town be going to understand why the tax rate was so high? Because if that's the case, then there should be millions and millions of dollars in this coffer.
The rate actually went down.
Yeah. The tax rates, like in my area, went up 50%, while the budget went up 7%. And I'm just asking for an explanation from elected representatives, the 5 of you, why you approved a budget that would permit up to a 70% increase in taxes when the budget was only 7% of an increase.
The budget actually from last year was $1 million less. That was the approved budget that we passed earlier this year, and that the state accepted.
And I'm looking at the general budget. We've had this conversation multiple times.
Sure.
I'm showing, it's $1 million less than 4 years ago. I'm just, for everybody who's in on this call, how can the town justify 70% increase on any existing property when the budget is $1 million less than it was 4 years ago? And this all goes back to the
Sir, this all goes back to the assessor and the assessed value of the property. And it also goes back to that the county, we have been at a lower percentage. We were not at 100% because of all of the devastation that happened during Sandy, and we've been creeping up every year. And this year the county said we had to tax at 100%, not at 92 or 96 or all those other different numbers. So the combination of assessed value going up and the 100% rate going up is what has led to this increase.
And we've had this
And,
discussion.
and if you don't, we have had this discussion, and if you are not, because I know that you're not happy with your taxes, you can definitely fight them. You can fight it if you want. You can file a tax appeal, but what I'm telling you is that the power to solve your problem does not rest with the governing body. You will have to go through the tax appeal process.
And I'll end it at this, and I'm not looking for an argument. It's the tax assessor and tax collectors who's saying we don't have anything to do with the tax rate. And the buck stops with you guys because you're the ones who approved this budget. And I'm politely letting the other council members, I know you're a good person, Mayor. The council members know that the budget that you're improving permitted tax increases of up to 70% to houses that never had any improvements. It's just for information purposes only. And I'll let you know what happens in the next month. But just for everybody else who's on this call who experienced the same thing and they're frustrated.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you.
And with that, I'm going to make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, everyone, for coming out tonight.
Thank you.
One quick thing from Laura from 215 Linden. Carolyn, thank you for being a proper mayor and a proper leader of the community and offering up your home because you had power.
Oh, absolutely. It's my aim. I'm always happy to help. Thank you, Laura. Good night, everyone.